The Libyan Desert, winter, 1942. The Sahara night is cold and dark. The only sound, the low hum of distant generators from a German airbase. The sentries are relaxed, their patrols a familiar, quiet loop. They're well behind friendly lines. Nothing ever happens out here. The silence is shattered. A flash of movement on the horizon. Not one Jeep, but 4. They're screaming across the desert sands, their engines howling, their headlights off. The Germans freeze, a moment of disbelief on their faces. And then, chaos. The Jeeps rip through the base, a maelstrom of gunfire and screaming metal as twin Vickers machine guns mounted to the hood of each car barks fire and death. Pinned down, the Germans don't even have a chance to raise their rifles. A fuel truck erupts in a tower of flame as a grenade finds its mark. Airplanes explode. Detonations of plastic explosive ripple through the airbase, destroying fuselages and barracks. There are shouts, curses, panic. But it's too late. Within minutes, the men in the Jeeps are phantoms once more. Unseen, unheard, unstoppable, fading away into the desert night as abruptly as they arrived. Hello, and welcome back to Badass of the Week, the show where we tell the badass history of badasses. My name is Ben Thompson, and I am joined today by badass producer and occasional co-host Andrew Jacobs. Andrew, thank you for coming back to help me tell another story of some pretty badass stuff in North Africa.
Very exciting. Glad to be back. Always glad to be here. Yeah, I have nothing to add to that today. Normally I have some sort of joke about like, I'm required to do it, but
yes,
I think that one's over now.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, my kids started school after the summer, and so I just have like free time during my day to work, and it's just amazing. So I'm just kind of basking in that. I just sit like that first day I just sat there and stared at a wall for like an hour. I was just like, it's quiet in my house, I can focus.
It's my time. This is my time right now.
Yes.
Oh, I feel that every Monday. I'm like, Monday, thank God. Love my kids, but wow, they are exhausting.
Yeah. It's like it's weird how that reverses when you're an adult, where summer vacation is, you're like, oh no, it's gonna be summer vacation. I can't wait for that to be over.
Yeah. I did not foresee that coming.
No.
But we've got something big coming, right?
We do. We have something really big coming, and I'm gonna defer to you on that one because I'm not sure what we're allowed to talk about yet. But it's very exciting.
Yeah, we've got something big coming in the next, let's say 3 weeks or so. Mm-hmm. We're gonna launch. So this is season 1. We are on episode 100, and I'm not even sure what at this point of season 1.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, season 2 is launching. We're going to change it. You're going to see it on the podcast apps. It's going to say season 2. Season 2 is launching in the next 3 weeks, and it's going to be, it's going to be the same old stuff. We're going to keep playing the hits.
It's going to be new and exciting version of the same stuff that we've been doing. The same exciting, not the same old stuff, the same exciting, amazing, wonderful, badass stuff that we've been doing for years now. It'll be episode 129. I think we're on episode 129. Yeah,
okay.
129
so
nice round number.
Season 2 is going to launch, but along with that is I think a pretty giant announcement that we're very excited about and have been working on for quite a long time. Mm-hmm. And hopefully everyone's going to love it. Don't worry, everyone. Ben will still be here. Yes, telling stories.
I've not been replaced yet by an AI.
No, we're not doing that.
You get some famous person on to do a Ben Thompson impression. Yeah,
exactly. You're gonna, Ben Thompson as portrayed by. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay, let's. With that out of the way, should we jump into today's episode?
Let's jump into today's episode. I wanted to do something like, we've been doing some kind of colorful characters and some interesting stuff, and we were kind of talking about it. And we're like, let's just get let's just get somebody up here who like is just a badass dude who just does badass stuff. And so this is going to be more of a traditional badass story that we've come to know and love from the show. Just giant dude kicking ass in North Africa, beating up Nazis, shooting stuff with a machine gun, driving around in a Jeep. It's going to be fun. And I was like extra excited about this one because I'm going to be traveling to Ireland in a couple weeks, and this guy is from Ireland. So I'm going to like to try to hit the local badasses for all the areas I travel to. So that'll be a good one. So we're going to take our break. And when we come back, we're going to tell the story of Robert Mayne, who is one of the founding members of the British SAS, one of the first special operations units, or maybe the first special operations unit ever created. And he did some really badass stuff in the North African desert during World War II. All right, stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Badass of the Week. We are going to tell the story of Paddy Mayne, who is a legendary figure in British military history and the history particularly of the SAS. So, okay, I think it's probably best to start with a quote from this guy. And I feel like this really sums the character up. He says, quote, "When you enter a room full of the enemy, kill the first one that moves. He has started to think and is therefore dangerous."
I mean, that's good. I like that. Good,
Yes.
Good strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it tells us pretty much all we need to know about Paddy Mayne.
Yeah, easy to
episode
remember.
over. I mean, badass, done. Stamp of approval.
Yes, easy to remember. You know, you don't, in the heat of the moment, you could just, oh yeah, kill the first guy that moves. I can remember that, even in a high stress situation. Okay, so Andrew, we did the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare together.
Correct.
We talked about that episode, and we watched the movie, and in the opening scene of that movie, the main character is sitting in a prison cell and he's recruited to go on this like suicide mission. Now, that was not the true story of that historical figure. We talked about that he wasn't actually like recruited from prison or anything like that. However, Paddy Mayne's story does begin in an Egyptian prison.
Oh, and not just any prison, an Egyptian prison.
Yes. So who is this guy? So let's go back and let's talk about his backstory, where he came from. Paddy Mayne was born July 11th, 1915, in County Down, Ireland. So he was, this is one of the Northern Ireland counties, Ulster. So he grows up and he gets really into, he's a big guy, he's always big, and he gets into rugby because of course that's the most badass sport, because it's just like there doesn't appear to be any rules of that sport that I can parse.
It's just violence.
Just violence, just kill the man with the ball. And so he competes, like he's very successful in college. He boxes. He's the heavyweight boxing champion of the Irish universities. And he competes for Ireland in 1937 in a match against Wales. So, okay, while he is like, you know, a very prominent athlete, he does, you know, he joins the officer training corps and enlists in the British Army before the Second World War. So he joins in early 1939. He joins the Royal Ulster Rifles as an officer. He serves in the military for a while, and then when the war begins, he wants to enlist in the commandos. We've talked about the commandos with Mad Jack Churchill. And, you know, if that's the kind of officer that the Royal Commandos have, that's the kind of place that Paddy Mayne will fit in perfectly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So he joins the commandos and he does fighting in North Africa early on. So he's fighting in Syria and Lebanon against the Germans and the Italians and even like Vichy French. So this is kind of what he's been up to around this time, doing some of the commando operations, is when he gets into a dispute with his superior officer and ends up punching him in the face, which is
how he ends up in prison.
Yes.
Got it.
So picture like some military prison in Egypt, gritty, super tough royal commando sitting there. He's got this big beard. He's 6'4", 200 pounds. He's from Northern Ireland. He's sitting alone in this rat-infested cell, and he's awaiting a court martial. And, he's there because he punched a superior officer in the face and then tried to kill the guy with a bayonet.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll get you thrown into prison in a lot of places.
Yeah. It was his second offense. A few months before that, he got into a dispute at a nightclub and dragged the bartender outside and started doing that cowboy thing where you shoot at his feet and be like, dance. I don't know the details on why he did this to this guy, but yeah, he was arrested for that, and now he's arrested again for punching an officer and then trying to stab him. And now he's a captain in the Royal Commandos, but he is in prison, and he's kind of sitting there waiting for his court martial when the door opens and a tall, steel-jawed Scottish aristocrat, Lieutenant Colonel David Stirling, approaches in his dress uniform, and he has been friends with Paddy Mayne and knows him by reputation as well as personally. And Colonel Stirling says, "Okay, Paddy, I've got an opportunity for you, Captain. You can get out of here and join me on these crazy suicide mission in North Africa, or you can sit here and see how that court martial goes." He's like, "I'm going into the Sahara Desert. I'm going to go fight the German army. And it's probably a suicide mission. You're probably going to come home in a takeout box, but you probably get to kill a lot of Nazis in the process. So what do you say?"
I mean, that's a good deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the movie version of this, Paddy Mayne just stares at him and is just like, "When can I get started?"
Yeah, exactly. Or there's always that clip from The Town when he says, "Whose car are we taking?"
Yeah. Whose car are we taking?
Yeah.
I'll need a gun.
Yeah.
I'll need a bayonet.
Yeah.
They took my other one. Okay. So, all right. So David Stirling is putting together a special operations group. And I think it's important at this point to talk about the situation in World War II in 1941. So I feel like we were talking a little before the show, Andrew, and I was like, one nice thing about doing an episode like Paddy Mayne is that I don't feel like there's a lot of setup required to bring the audience into the idea of the Second World War. I feel like we can assume like a general understanding of the Second World War from our listeners at this point.
I should hope so. Guys, if you don't know, guys and gals, if you don't know what the Second World War is, pause this episode.
Type it in Chat AI or whatever.
Yeah, get over to Chat GPT, maybe a little Wikipedia. Come back to us. It'll only take you several years.
Yes. Or listen to any of we probably have a dozen episodes on World War II characters on this show at this point.
Yes, that is true.
Okay, so I think it is important, though, to talk about where we're at in this part of the war at this moment in the story, where Paddy Mayne is being released from prison. It is the end of 1941, and the Germans are like crushing everything. They are they've taken France, they've taken Czech, they've taken all of Eastern Europe. They are besieging Moscow at the moment, and it's looking really bad for the Russians. The Russians haven't been able to stop them. They've blitzed all the way across all of Eastern Europe, and now they're besieging Leningrad and they're besieging Moscow, and it's not looking good for either of those cities. In the West, they took all of France. Spain is allied with them. Italy is allied with them, and they've been bombing England in the Battle of Britain, which we talked about in the Spitfire episode. They aren't really ready to. They've kind of given up on the bombing campaign in England for the most part, and it's looking like they're probably not going to invade England. but they are very solidly in control of the entire continent of Europe at this point.
Yeah, not good.
No, not good. And the U.S. is not in the war yet, so there's no help coming at the moment. It's just England against Germany. And Germany has decided that their next move is going to be to attack North Africa. So, you know, when you think North Africa, you think Sahara Desert, but they've kind of come down from Italy. They're in Tunisia, and their goal is to attack east from Tunisia into Egypt. Specifically, like to take Egypt away from England, because at this point the British Empire controls Egypt and Palestine. I'm not going to touch that, but like they cover that whole area over there. That whole Middle East area is England at this point, part of the British Empire, and the Germans are moving on those territories. They're gonna they want to take Cairo. They want to take the Suez Canal so that they have access through the Suez Canal. And then they want to get into those oil fields in the Middle East where they can start like pumping out fuel for their vehicles and airplanes and stuff.
Always comes back to oil.
It's always about oil. No blood for oil.
Yeah.
Okay. And they have a pretty experienced, pretty badass commander doing things down there. His name is Erwin Rommel. And he is the master of the Blitzkrieg. He's called the Desert Fox because he's like such an awesome tactician in the desert. He's in command of a special group of German soldiers known as the Afrika Korps. They are like Rommel is awesome. We should probably talk about Rommel at some point on the show. He earned the German version of the Medal of Honor for storming enemy positions during World War I. He literally wrote the book on fighting with infantry in modern combat. It's called Infantry Attacks, and like that's the book that Patton in the movie was like, "I read your book, you magnificent bastard."
Just to clarify, he's still a bad guy, still fighting, playing for the wrong team here.
Yes, he is.
But some enemies are worthy of discussion.
Yes, definitely. Rommel, you'll see he sometimes gets a pass because he was implicated in the plot to like overthrow Hitler. It's towards the end of the war he tries to overthrow Hitler, and so sometimes
Team Rommel.
Sometimes it didn't work out for him. He got killed. Yeah. But like, So yeah, he led Alpine troops during World War I. He commanded the German soldiers in their invasion of Poland. He was in command of the 7th Panzer Division that went into France. It was like a big key component to the French falling very quickly in the war. He is he's the best combined arms commander the Germans have, and he's in North Africa, and he's outmaneuvering, destroying, capturing British bases all across Libya and Tunisia and Egypt. He's destroyed basically huge portions of the British army. They've fallen back all the way to Cairo, and they're just barely hanging on, defending Cairo. All of North Africa is German because this guy's awesome at Blitzkrieg, and Blitzkrieg, it turns out, is very easy to perform in a big, giant, flat, open desert with no terrain features.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I gotta say, the Afrika Korps, like you take a bunch of like pasty Germans, used to skiing in the Alps or something, right? And and put them in Africa, and they're succeeding there. They've got to be some tough bastards.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they're also fighting a bunch of pasty British guys who are used to.
True. They're all just really hot all the time.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's wearing shorts. So that's one of the fun things about looking at pictures of the, even like the SAS, the early SAS, everybody's wearing shorts. It's like, it's kind of hard to look badass wearing shorts as like a grown man, but these guys pull it off. Like, it's not bad.
Makes sense.
Okay. So, what's England going to do? They are backed up in Cairo. They have no reinforcements coming, no support coming. What are they going to do? They have to like kind of mass up their forces and prepare for counterattack. But while they're doing that, they're just getting hammered. So what's the solution? Okay, this is where At the time, it's called L Detachment, is what David Sterling and Paddy Mayne put together. Paddy Mayne's an officer; he's a captain. He'll get promoted to major before the end of the war. David Sterling's the overall commander, but Paddy Mayne is like the guy on the ground. The two of them come up with this idea of like, all right, we have these big open areas where the Blitzkrieg is just crushing us, but the Germans have to transport their fuel and ammo and food and drinking water from Italy and Germany. They're coming in, most of it's coming in through Tripoli, and they need to get that out to Cairo. And you have these just huge expanses of desert that need to be crossed by supply trucks and aircraft and things. So they're like, why don't we just destroy their logistics? Why don't we get behind their lines? We strap a couple machine guns to a couple of Jeeps and we drive them behind enemy lines and we shoot all their airplanes while they're on the airfields and we blow up their trucks before they could deliver their supplies. And if the Germans can't gas up their tanks, maybe those tanks will stop blowing us up. Okay. Easier said than done.
It's a good plan.
Yes, it's a good plan. So they create the, nowadays we know it as the Special Air Service, the British SAS, but at the time it's called L Detachment. It's the first special forces operations group in the way that we know them today. It's 60 guys who are handpicked for being like the toughest dudes in the British Army, British 8th Army. They get on these Jeeps, and if you see a picture of L Detachment, it's definitely worth looking it up because it's just like a row of Jeeps, and they would take 2 .303 caliber like airplane machine guns, like belt-fed machine guns, and they would strap them onto the hood of like a regular Jeep. Like these are like open top Jeeps. They're painted sand colored. In some cases they remove the front windshield so that you can get the gun on there. And so there's 2 machine guns. Sometimes they're both in the front. Sometimes one's in the front, one's in the back. And these dudes driving them, like you said, they're like pasty British guys, but they have these huge beards and they're wearing turbans, like Saudi style turbans, to keep themselves cool because they're driving around in like 130 degree heat of the Sahara Desert. And you know, they're wearing like their khaki uniforms, and these guys look tough. They look like, when you look at
they're
pictures
grizzled.
Yes,
they've been driving out in the desert without a windshield, man.
Yeah,
there's like bugs and dust all over their faces.
Yes, if you think about like U.S. Navy SEALs, like special forces operators in Afghanistan or Iraq, like this kind of what these guys look like. They've got that similar vibe. Only it's 1943, and these guys basically invented this. So they're climbing these huge sand dunes in these 4x4, these 4-wheel drive Jeeps. There's the terrain of the desert it's the freaking Sahara Desert. It's dangerous, right? There's sandstorms. There's also flash floods. There's dehydration. At night it gets below 0. During the day it's 130 degrees. And not to mention that these guys are driving around behind enemy lines with no support. It's 60 guys in like basically 20 Jeeps driving around looking for bad guys to shoot. And, there's nowhere to hide from a German air patrol, right? Like if they have airplanes, you're in big trouble. But their mission is to basically wait until night. They would drive towards like an enemy position. They'd scout it out. And then at night, they would go in, they'd drive their Jeeps right up onto the tarmac, shooting the machine guns. Like there'd be 2 guys, one guy driving and the driver would sometimes be shooting one of the machine guns. And then the second guy would be shooting his gun. They've pulled these machine guns off airplanes, right? It's not like it's not an assault rifle. It is a belt-fed machine gun that comes off of an airplane. And they would drive these Jeeps right up onto the tarmac and just machine gun every body and every airplane they could find. And sometimes guys would like get out, like Paddy Mayne would like get out with plastic explosive and like stick it to a Stuka or a BF 109 or something, and then kind of walk away in slow motion with the explosion going off behind him. And that's pretty badass. They drive in there, they shoot everything up, they blow up all the airfield, they throw grenades into the gas tanks or whatever, throw grenades into like the stockpile of fuel, then drive away before dawn, and just hope they destroyed all of the airplanes, because if any one of those airplanes is still serviceable, it can get up in the air and shoot you while you're driving away.
Ooh, yeah. That sounds like good fun.
Yeah, definitely good fun. The Germans were having a really hard time staffing this because they didn't have the guys to spare to man every single airfield and fuel depot and ammo dump in North Africa. So these guys would find ones that didn't have a lot of stuff. They'd be driving up. Their Jeeps are like basically covered in, those jerry cans of water and fuel and ammo. And they would just drive these around, and they'd show up where the Germans weren't, and they'd blow up all their stuff, and then they'd drive away. The Germans tried to like put minefields around some of their bases to deter these guys. That didn't work. And they tried to set traps for them. That didn't work. And so that was kind of what L Detachment was doing during the war. It was just blowing up all of their fuel and ammo and clean water, or stealing all their clean water or whatever. And, Paddy Mayne is kind of driving the lead truck on this, right? He's 6'4", he's giant. He's like extremely, he loves to drink and he loves to fight and he loves to he just goes hard at everything.
He's just a pro at wreaking havoc on things.
Yes. Yeah. And so in one of his first fights, the Germans are kind of running around trying to figure out what's going on. And, he runs over, like they've shot everything up. He's like, they're about to pull away and he's like, oh, that bomber isn't destroyed. So like, cover me. And he gets off and he runs over, puts some plastic explosive on it and blows it up. The entire raid is like 15 minutes, but they destroy 30 German aircraft, damage a dozen more, and blow up an anti-aircraft gun position. And they lose one guy killed in action during the raid. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, good work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so in another mission, he drives his Jeep up to the barbed wire surrounding the base because they've been putting barbed wire around it. He crawls underneath the barbed wire, and then he's like, "All right, we can't get the Jeeps in, so I'll just take care of this myself." So he's just like throw me the backpacks. So they just throw him a bunch of backpacks full of plastic explosive. He single-handedly goes around, plants 24 plastic explosives on different German planes. Then before he leaves, he's got them all set up, and he's like, all right, I got to do one more thing. So he kicks open the door to the German barracks and just shoots everybody. Then blows it up on the way out.
I kicked open the door and they all moved. So I shot them all.
Yes, they all moved.
Jeez. Yeah. This is like, I feel like you're describing scenes from the sequel to the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
No kidding,
like
right?
it feels like action-packed Jason Statham fun.
Yes. And so he shoots up the place. He's like fighting. This guy's like, I mean, he's very athletic. So he was a member of the British national rugby team. And in 1936, he was the Irish University organization's heavyweight boxing champion.
Okay.
So, punching out Nazis. And I keep saying Germans, but there's Italians involved here too. There's a lot of Italians involved in Africa Corps. So he's beating guys up. He sets off, he machine guns the barracks, takes all the guys on the base, blows up the aircraft, realizes one of those aircraft didn't blow up. The plastic explosive didn't detonate. He's like, goes over, he can't get it to work. He's like, all right, well, I got to take this thing out because my Jeep has a top speed of like 65 miles an hour. And this ME-109 has a top speed of like 300 miles an hour. So he's like, what do I do? So he gets up and he reaches into the cockpit. He like slides the cockpit open, climbs up into the aircraft and just pulls the control panel, like just destroys the cockpit with his bare hands. So it can't fly.
Didn't have like a hammer or something.
The story goes that he pulled it out of the cockpit with his bare hands and dismantled it with his hands.
Paddy Mayne.
Yeah, like a week later, he's in another raid where him and his buddies drive in and they shoot up 27 Nazi aircraft and destroy them on the ground.
So they're having a lot of success.
They're having a lot of success. Yes, they between December 41 and October 42, L Detachment pulls off 40 raids. They blow up fuel depots, ammo dumps, airstrips, communications posts. They are credited with destroying 320 German aircraft. during this time period. And that is like less than a year. They've destroyed 320 aircraft over 40 raids.
That's significant.
Yeah. And they have 20 Jeeps. They have 24 Jeeps. That's their whole team, right? 60 guys and 24 Jeeps. And then what that ends up doing is kind of severely crippling the Afrika Korps' air cover, which allows the British airplanes to now start launching raids on those supply trucks, taking out their logistics. Rommel is fighting, and he's doing what he can with what he's got, but without German air cover, the British Desert Air Force is blowing all this stuff up. And Rommel, at one point in his notes, he estimates that 2/3 of the supplies and reinforcements that are being sent to him from Germany are either being sunk in the Mediterranean by the Royal Navy, blown up by the Desert Air Force, or destroyed and stolen by the SAS. That's significant. That's 2 out of 3 grenades are going missing.
Yeah, not good.
Mm-hmm. And
well, it depends on who you ask. Pretty good for the Allies.
Not good for the Nazis, yeah, which is good for the British, which is good for Paddy Mayne, and he's very happy about. And he gets to go loose. He doesn't. He's not getting court-martialed in Egypt. He is punching Nazis and throwing hand grenades at them.
What a turnaround!
Yeah. So by October of 42, the Germans are like, we've exhausted our supply lines. We can't keep this up. We need to have a decisive battle here. And that's kind of what the British have been looking for too. They've been saving up their resources to do this. This is where we get the Battle of El Alamein on October 28th. The entire soldiers from across the British Empire, Canadians, Australians, Scots, New Zealanders, South Africans, Indians, Egyptians, everybody attacks. There's a big decisive battle, and the British win, and the Desert Fox is out of ammo, out of food, out of clean water. He starts to retreat, and that's as far as he's going to get. He can't resupply. The Germans are starting to lose in the Soviet Union, so they're needing to divert a lot of resources there. And then around this time in December, the Americans start to show up as well. George Patton lands with the U.S. Army in North Africa in early 1943, and now it's kind of over for Rommel. He's being attacked from both sides now, and he can't get supplies, and he can't replace those airplanes that were being blown up by Paddy Mayne and L Detachment.
Yeah, sure. Patty's like, oh, the Americans, nice of you to join us.
Yeah, thanks for coming by, guys. And it doesn't help the Americans get crushed in their first major battle against Rommel. They're showing up we're here to save the day, and then they fight Rommel and they get crushed. And the Brits are like, yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Great to have you on the team. Okay, so Rommel is going to lose, and the North Africa operation is a failure for the Germans. Now the English and the Americans the Allies are going to be pushing forward into Italy and France, and Paddy Mayne is going to be on the front lines there as well, doing more of the same stuff. So let's take a break real quick, and when we come back, we'll talk about that. Okay, welcome back. We have had victory for the Allies in North Africa, and now Paddy Mayne is being sent to Italy as part of the invasion of Italy, and he's going to do some crazy stuff there. Lieutenant Colonel Sterling is captured during a raid in 1943 and imprisoned by the Germans. So Paddy Mayne takes over, and this is when L Detachment becomes the first SAS regiment, first Special Air Service, which is a unit that still exists today and is very well known for being badass. He's the first commander of the British SAS, and he continues doing badass stuff throughout the war. His kind of golden moment is with the Desert Patrol in North Africa. But as the Germans and the Italians are being pushed back into mainland Italy, he goes on raids into Italy. At one point, he leads 50 soldiers onto a beach in the middle of the night, where then they climb a sheer cliff face with ropes and grappling hooks and attack an Italian fortress from the rear, where it's a small group of 50 guys. They kill or capture 700 Italian soldiers, blow up all of the coastal artillery that was there to prevent a landing, and then drink all their wine.
Well, I mean, what else are you supposed to do after all that?
Yeah, we killed everybody, captured everybody, blew up all their guns. There's nothing left to do. They got a bunch of really good wine here. We are in Tuscany.
Yeah.
He's credited with helping capture the Italian town of Termoli by, Paddy Mayne's solution to most things is to just strap machine guns on it and open fire. So with this one, it was like a coastal town, so he straps machine guns onto inflatable rafts, and him and his guys attack the beach in inflatable rafts with heavy machine guns strapped to them.
Like, when in doubt, just strap a machine gun on it.
Yep, they take it.
You have any ideas? Let's put a machine gun on it.
What do we got? We got a bike, a skateboard, rollerblades. Strap a machine gun to it. We can work with this.
Horses.
How many machine guns we got?
Gun to it. Yeah.
Every time you see a picture of this guy, he's standing next to a machine gun. Almost every famous picture of this guy, if you Google image search him, he's standing next to a heavy machine gun of some sort. He
had a lot of things to strap machine guns to.
Yes.
He was busy.
Yes. There's a story in France where, after D-Day, this Canadian group is attacking a German position and they're pinned down, and he needs to go rescue them. Like he's like with his guys, and the Canadians are pinned down. It's not looking good for them. He's like, "We're gonna go rescue him. Follow me." And so all he has is his Jeep. And he's like, but it's a regular Jeep. It's the kind that you would see in the olive drab one with the white star on it, not the badass custom 4-wheel drive, whatever double machine guns that he had there. And he's like, all right, we're going to take these Jeeps. We're going to go rescue these Canadians. So, Andrew, what do you think he does?
He straps a machine gun to it.
He kicks out the windshield and he straps a machine gun to the front. He straps a machine gun on the dash. He drives.
When it works, it works.
Yeah, he drives with his left. He shoots the gun with his right. He gets in there, piles up all the wounded guys into the back of his Jeep, drives it back, drops those guys off, goes back a couple more times, and every time he finds wounded guys, he throws them in the Jeep and gets them out of there. And then eventually, he kind of almost single-handedly rescues this platoon of Canadian troops. Strap a machine gun to it. That should be the title of the episode. Paddy Mayne, strap a machine gun to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he survives the war. He commands the first SAS throughout the war. They do all kinds of badass, secret operations stuff in Italy, France, North Africa. He is on the front lines of a lot of battles. He's involved in he blows a lot of stuff up, and he shoots a lot of people with a machine gun. And after the war, he's like, okay, the British Army wants to kind of recognize him for his work, because he's done all these crazy missions and everything. They want to give him an award, but it's decided that he cannot receive the Victoria Cross, which is their version of the Medal of Honor. He's not eligible for the Victoria Cross because he has angered every single one of his commanding officers except for David Sterling. Every commander he had to report to, including the one he punched, they all hate him because he doesn't listen to them. He doesn't follow orders, doesn't do what they say. I'm sure there was some general somewhere while he's driving around while he's kicking the windshield out of that Jeep. There's some officer being like, "Don't you do it, Mayne."
He's like, "That's my Jeep."
That's an order, Captain. So he doesn't receive the Victoria Cross, but the second highest award in the British Army is the Distinguished Service Order. And he wins that 4 times, or earns that 4 times, I should say. So he gets four DSOs, but none of them are ever upgraded to the Victoria Cross because he would rather punch his commander than follow orders, which is probably what made him badass to begin with.
Yeah. Now, I read a little bit on Paddy before the episode, and I've read that they've posthumously tried to get him this award, the Victoria Cross, a few times, and it's failed a few times as recently as like last year or something. So there's still an effort to right this wrong, and I would say to our listeners, and spoiler alert, when I said posthumously, he does die eventually.
Yeah, he does eventually die, but not in battle.
This was a long time ago, so he is no longer with us. But to our listeners, especially those in England or the UK, feel free to write to your representatives or the king, and tell them you need that. Paddy Mayne needs to get the Victoria Cross, because I mean, come on, you listen to this episode, that dude deserves it.
Yeah, he definitely does. Yeah, he does pass away. He passed away in 1955 at age 40. He's like drinking at a club with some friends, and then he gets into a car accident on the way home. So that's what happens to him. But before that, after he's done with his military service, he does spend the post-war years, 10 years of the post-war time. He raises chickens on a chicken farm. And he does a lot of Antarctic exploration.
Oh,
goes on several Antarctic expeditions.
Those are two very different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, oh, he raises chickens. He like retires to a nice peaceful life on the farm, and then he goes to Antarctica.
Yes.
All right, cool.
And so that's it. That's the story of him. He was is about as badass as you can get. He is recruited from a prison for beating up his commanding officer, which is very action hero stuff.
Oh,
his life appears very cinematic to me. And like you said, it seems like the movie we watched. But when we were watching that, I was thinking of Paddy Mayne, and I was like, we got to come back and talk about him in the future. And it's as tough as you can get. So I guess, I don't know. What's the lesson here, Andrew?
I mean, I think there's two lessons that I've taken away. One is, if you enter a room and full of the enemy, shoot the first one that moves, because he's thinking. And the other one is that when in doubt, strap a machine gun to whatever you're doing.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many things can be solved by strapping a machine gun to a mode of transportation and just driving it right at your problems. Metaphorically or literally. It
really worked.
Yeah. And so that's the story of Paddy Mayne. 4 DSOs, no Victoria Cross yet. If you are coming back to this episode from the future where he has received it, awesome. Glad to have you here. Hopefully that's going to be the case. So, okay. Thank you guys for listening. This has been Badass of the Week, and we hope to see you again on a future episode.
Stay badass.
Badass of the Week is produced by High Five Content. Executive producers are me, Ben Thompson, Dr. Patricia Larish, and Andrew Jacobs. Writing is by me and Pat. Story editing by Ian Jacobs. Mixing and music and sound design by Jude Brewer. Special thanks to Noel Brown at iHeartRadio. Badass of the Week is based on my website, badassoftheweek.com, where you can read all sorts of stories about other badasses. If you want to reach out with questions or ideas, you can email us at badasspodcast@badassoftheweek.com. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, follow, listen, and tell your friends and tell your enemies. And please leave us a rating. We'll be back next week with another one.